Other than that, like when I lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back, lean. Girl, don't fall. Hold up. Wait, hold on to the table. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion, and this is not chapstick. This we already have on top of chapstick, and this is Pat Gloss in Earth Angel. And I put it on in a previous video because I was trying to decide whether or not to keep it. And I'm putting it on, and I realized it looks dual chrome. Like if you're seeing purple and pink or lavender when I do this, let me know. And I will be using this. And I have used it before with black lipstick. And so applying this today made me decide not to get rid of it or not to put it away to decide if I was going to keep it or not. Anyway, the crazy and crazy troll nation is that I slur my words. I forget I have an intro. I just go off talking about other stuff. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. As you're watching videos, try not to feel like you need to use a certain brand or a certain tool or even a certain technique. Wear whatever you want to, apply it with whatever you want to get your makeup on in a way that you are satisfied with it. Here at the Crazy Troll Nation, we are about self-acceptance and self-love, embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on, because you friggin' rock. I do curse on my channel sometimes, because I do curse in real life sometimes. If you're new here, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today's video, I'm still working on my pat face, y'all. I am still working on perfecting my pat face, and I think I got it. Except, I won't be using the pat concealer. The shade that matches the foundation, it did not match my under eye. As you look at my face, I'm a little, overall I'm golden. You see a little, olive up here, a little greenish hue up here. Under my eyes, they just do their own thing. This is still golden, but it leans neutral. And my chin is just a lighter version of my forehead. And when you see here, this is all just straight gold. So I have a hard time finding concealers. I do have one that looks really good for here, and it does look nice under here. But the M18 foundation, it looks great on me. The concealer, the longer it was on, the more green gray it looked. And I'm like, that ain't cute. And so then I tried the M17 concealer. It was just way too light. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I just won't have a pat concealer. So what we're going to do today, also, the medium 3 powder, way too dark. I did get it to work, but it was by putting hourglass powders and other stuff on top of it. And then I'm like, what's the point of putting on a powder if you got to put on 2 or 3 other powders to make that powder look right? That was just too much. And I don't mind. I am a powder person. I don't mind. And, if I'm looking powdery, just spray it with setting spray or finishing spray, and then it looks fine. But it was like, what's the point? You're just applying a product just to need to apply other products on it. So I got the light medium 2. So we're going to try this today. So today we are going to, I did get the pat primer. Y'all, her sales, it used to be a sale like every 3 months or so. Now it seems like every 3 weeks. And just recently, today is June 27th, just recently, she had a sale where even the bronzers were on sale. I'm like, didn't the bronzers just come out? I'm like, what is going on over there? Like, did one of the investors back out, or are they changing management? Like, I really want to know. And if you Google Pat McGrath Labs on a website, it is hard to find information. It's a private company. So whoever the investors are, unless they want to be known, you are not going to know. Because I was trying to find out how much stock does Pat have in her company, because I know I'm on a little rant right here. I do this every now and then. If you look up Fenty Beauty, it says that the Louis Vuitton camp owns 50% and Rihanna owns 50%. But then I found an article that said the Louis Vuitton camp, they own just a little bit more. And so when I looked into it, Louis Vuitton, they own 50.01% of Fenty Beauty. Rihanna owns 49.99%. And so they own just 0.01% more than Fenty does. But if you just look at percentages, Fenty, Rihanna, as she says, which is really how you pronounce her name according to where she's from. Rihanna does own 50% of her company, but when you look up trying to find out how much does Pat own of her own company, you cannot find that information. And I'm really wondering more and more lately, like how much of it she owns, because I'm just not understanding, like, how are we here from Subliminal, Sublime, Subversive? Those were like groundbreaking industry palettes, and then Decadence, and then Bronze Seduction, Midnight Sun, which I love, which a lot of people didn't. Some people really do though. But once she got into like the Divine Rose, everything from there has been just pink and lavender and purple. So it's like, what are you doing? And then the blushes, they had a nice range, but even now, you know, when she launches something, it's like, wow, it's great. And then 3 weeks later, not even months, 3 weeks later, she released the blush sticks, and now the bronzers are on sale. The bronzers just came out. So I'm just like, what's happening over there? Like, something is going on. If you know, DM me a link or email me a link or something. Because I really, like, all jokes aside, I'm really wondering, like, what the hell is going on over there? Because it just doesn't seem right. Like, what company goes through that many changes? And I don't know. And also, whatever companies are buying her products, they're not selling. So that's why they're ending up in TJ Maxx and Marshalls. And so it's not that Pat McGrath Labs is selling their stuff to TJ Maxx and Marshalls. It might be like third-party buyers or something like that, and it doesn't sell. They're pushing out stock. That's how stuff gets into these retail kind of thrift type stores. And even now, when I was in Marshalls a few days ago, again, today is June 27th, they had like 5 of the Christmas palettes that came out, like the mega motherships. And I've seen them in there before, but now they have them in a locked case. It's like a stack of them. It's like 5 of them. And I'm just like, so whatever's happening, they're not selling. Whoever the third-party buyers are, they're not selling the way they want them to. And so they're ending up in these discount stores. But even on Pat's website, the sales now like every 3 weeks or so. I mean, good for us. But I'm wondering, like, what's happening to the brand? Okay, let's just get to it. So anyway, I purchased a primer. There was a lot of controversy over the label being cheap. And when I got it, the label was peeled off like this. And so I do have a piece of tape where the ends of the labels meet, and I put my label on top of it. So this is a piece of regular tape, clear tape, and then my label. And I knew that the packaging was cheap. The Cell made this comparable in price to the Fenty primer and the Milk Hydro Grip primer. So I didn't have any issue purchasing it because I'm like, I paid that amount for primer anyway. The foundation, I love this foundation on me. It is a sheer coverage, sheer to medium buildable coverage. But this, I'm really digging that. It was just trying to find a concealer and one of her powders that works. And so this is my first time using a primer. Hopefully it don't irritate my face. So I'm not going to use a Fenty concealer. The concealer that I used a few days ago for a look, and I used this Pat foundation. It looked good. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to, let's just do 3 pumps, which looks like a lot. I have not used this primer. I think I just said that. I'm nervous. And I realize when I'm nervous, I tend to repeat myself, where sometimes I just do anyway because I might be excited. So we're going to smush this in. This is interesting consistency. So thank you for being here for that rant. Let me know what you think about Pat Cells. Let me know if you know, how much of her company does she own? Because with all the changes, I'm just like, I don't think she would do all of that. And she's still a working professional makeup artist. And so does she have the time to put all the energy into, creating these new products that are coming out seemingly every 3 or 4 months? Because when you look at the Fenty brand, we know that Rihanna is hands-on building her products, creating her products. And you don't see stuff coming out every 2 or 3 months. She did the foundation, and then she expanded the line, and then she came out with the cream products, but it wasn't fast. It happened like over time. And I think that benefited her company because she wasn't bombarding us with a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, I'm going to give you this and see if you like it or not, and then we'll branch off into other stuff. So I appreciate how she did that. Her eyeshadow, though, I liked her Moroccan Spice palette, but her other shadows, I'm glad she's not making anymore. I'll just say that. And I was glad she expanded her foundation range because I didn't have a match until she extended it. So 335 is my perfect Fenty foundation shade. So the primer, it does have a scent to it. It's a fresh scent. It doesn't smell floral, which is good. I do have sensitive skin, which is why I had said I hope I don't have a reaction to it. But I also have nasal and eye allergies. And so if something has a strong scent or a floral scent, sometimes it does irritate my nasal allergies. Sometimes my eyes may burn, or just a strong scent in general, my eyes may burn. But the primer feels good. And people did say it felt good, but they said they wouldn't repurchase it because the packaging was cheap. For me, I don't purchase for packaging. And so it did help that it was on sale. This is not tacky on me like the Milk Hydro Grip primer, and I'm wondering if this primer will help the foundation dry down quicker. For me, it takes over 45 minutes for this foundation to dry on my face, and usually by then I've powdered down because I'm just ready to do other stuff. Not a Pat product, I already told you. Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Concealer, and this is the 4N. What the hell? Why? Oh, because the stopper's not in here. So I'm like, why did so much come out? So we're going to put this here first. It's going to look like a lot, and it kind of actually is. So this is our Pat face, our Pat base face. I'm still trying to perfect it. So I'm really hoping that the light medium to powder looks good on me. And if not, I'll just have to tweak it and make it work. This down here. This just covered, y'all. And I don't know if something's been biting me lately or what, but I have like a red mark here. I had a red mark there. Red mark here, there, everywhere, on top of my usual redness. The redness around my nose, I kind of just keep it because whatever the foundation does, it still looks natural because that's just what my face looks like. We're going to take that same brush and we're going to pat this in around here. And so you see how that just balances that out? Y'all, I was really hoping that the lighter concealer was going to work because I really did want to just do a full, look at that. I really did want to do a full pat face, but sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to. So this is, yeah. And I actually would go out like this because even though this is red and down here is red, it looks natural because I have redness in those areas of my face. And so I'm digging it. So, all right, the foundation. You know what? I had a brush out for the concealer under my eye. And when I did this before, and even after I put the foundation on it, that concealer did not crease. I was just like, what? I keep wanting to turn it, but it's just a pull top. So we're going to do two. I'm trying to remember if I did 2 or 3 before. So we're just going to tap in. We're going to tap around the face. I'm going to tap in again. I think we did 3 because this is gone. So we're going to do one more pump. I'm liking this that I got from Temu because I can just hold it this way versus this palette where I have to hold it flat. So this is easier. It's more difficult to clean because it seems to be a porous material, even though I don't really think it is. But actually, yeah, I do think it is. Because I have to like put extra care in it to clean it, where the other one, because it's metal, you know, you just put a, just wipe it off with a soapy rag and all the residue of the foundation comes off, where this one I have to put extra work into it to get everything off of here. And it doesn't matter if it's dry or not, because even a metal one, when it's dry, once you put water and soap on it, it's just, it's easy to clean. But this is a lot easier to hold, so I wish it was metal. Maybe I'll look for one. I don't know. If you know where I can find one, let me know. So this is what the foundation is looking like on me. And I like it. I'm still getting used to it looking luminous, but then once I put powder on it, it's not luminous. Because for me, putting a luminous foundation under my eyes, sometimes it makes my under eyes look a little funky. But color wise, this does like seriously even me out. And as it does start to dry, it doesn't look as olive. The undertone, I'll put it over here. It's something. But because my forehead is that shade, it does make everything look even. Even though it looks a little off looking at this part. You know what I mean? Well, I do know you know what you mean, you see me. But anyway, so this is that. I also do not have the under eye setting powder. That, it just did something funky to my under eye area. And again, I was disappointed because I did just want to do a whole face of that. But I need to get the base face down first before we start getting into the motherships and the 2 new quads that I purchased. And so this is just me still trying to get the base right. It's not as tacky as it was. Yeah, it is. As it was when I used the Fenty, not the Fenty, the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I just don't know why for this to be so thin, this foundation to be so thin that it takes so long to dry. But please do let me know if you have this foundation. Does it take over 45 minutes for it to dry down on you? And even though we did use 3 pumps, like it's so sheer. And you saw how just doing half of my face, foundation on the palette was gone. So it's not that I'm using too much. I just don't know why. It does feel less tacky than when I use the Milk Hydro Grip. But the same thing though, it's still a thin foundation. I do find that if I swipe, it does remove some of the coverage. Like when I do like this, that part will look more red. So that's why I stipple more so than swipe. And even if I swirl, I'll go back and stipple. And even though you can see the redness here and here, it looks natural because I do have redness there. Even though this looks more red to me now that I swiped it. But it looks natural. And that's the thing with this being a sheer foundation. And as it is starting to dry down some, it's not looking as off from here. You know what I mean? So it is drying down a little bit quicker. So maybe it was the primer, but it's still not dry, but it's not as tacky. So we're going to try this powder, and I'm nervous because when you put on an under eye powder, if it doesn't look right, you just kind of stuck. And even though this is the face powder, some people have used it for under eye powder, and it worked for them. So I don't know why. You know what, I'm not gonna say I don't know why it didn't work for me. It's because the undertone of my under eye, because I have all that stuff going on. So for right now, we're just going to take this little bit and we're just going to pat right here. And what I don't want to do is just the brush not have any product on it and put it on, because then I might, did I just slur all of that? I don't just want to wipe the brush on my face without any product on it, because I don't want it to pick up the foundation. So what I'm doing is I'm just tapping the brush and rolling it on the mesh. If this is a good color for me, I'm going to do what I did with the medium 3. I'm going to just tear the mesh open and put it inside of my empty Fashion Fair my Fashion Fair container, because it has the holes in it, and it was a lot easier just to tap some in the cap and get it out versus this thing. Because how do you, once the powder gets low, how are you going to push the mesh down to get the powder on it? So I'm going to tap off, and we're going to tap under eye. Oh, that's not a good color for under eye. If I put a color under my eye that's not the correct shade, and because it's mattifying, my under eye discoloration shows through. And I was hoping that that wouldn't happen. This is my darkest patch, because if you look, I did the same thing on both sides, but this right here is my darkest patch. And so it's just making all of this look darker. So we're gonna try to get out some more powder. It's not as tacky, but it is still tacky. I don't like the process in getting the powder out of here. And I've seen people just press a sponge into it But then once it gets low, there's not powder close enough to the mesh to get it on the mesh. And so I'm confused about this powder, like how to dispense it. But if this does work for my face, as I said, I'll just cut the mesh and put it into the Fashion Fair container. Every time I use this, it gets in my throat when I was using the medium 3, to the point where I had to go drink some water because it was really just powder in my throat, because it's very lightweight and it's very thin. I don't think this is my color either, because I'm looking ghastly. So I don't think this is a keeper either, because I'm gonna have to put something over it to make it not look ghastly. You know what it is? This powder is bringing out the undertone of the foundation, whereas the other powders I used did not. It maintained how it looked. This powder's too light for me. And you, from where you are, it may look okay, but over here it's looking too light. Not excuse you. It's not horrible. But yeah, no. So powder in my throat. That's not a powder for me. So what I'm gonna take, I'm going to take 2 bronzer brushes, contour brushes. This is Desert Glow. It's not horrible. It's definitely not horrible. We're not going to take Desert Glow. We're going to take Bronze Divinity. We're going to take Bronze Divinity and we're going to bronze the face. And I think once we do this, it will be okay, except I'm not liking the under eye. So I need to figure out, you know, it's not what I need to figure out. When I did this base face with this concealer and the pat powder, excuse me, let me start over. When I did, excuse me if you heard that gurgle in my throat. When I used the Estee Lauder 4N concealer and the Pat M18 foundation and the Fashion Fair Truly Tawny powder, it looked perfect. It looked perfect. And so I know I can get that look. It just won't be with all Pat products. And so I am a little disappointed, but then in a way I'm not, because it's not like I needed more powders or concealers or whatever. You know what I mean? So like if I was really like, I didn't have any, I think I would feel different. But since I know I have stuff that works, I'm like, you know, it's okay. You don't need to work because I have other stuff that works. And so with this on, this works. I'm still not liking this. And as it's drying, it's getting more and more ghastly. It's getting more and more green. So maybe I shouldn't have taken the foundation up there, but it still looked fine. It looked luminous, but color-wise, it looked fine until I put that powder on. So that powder, excuse me, I need to figure out if I'm going to keep it or not. I need to look and see, excuse me, what my receipt says. So like this is fine. This is fine, but I had to put on Bronze Divinity to make the powder look right on my face, but it's still not looking right under here. So that means I would need to use another under eye setting powder, or just really take this back if I can and just use the Fashion Fair all over, because the Fashion Fair under my eyes did not change how the foundation looked. It did not. It does not change how the concealer looks. It does not change how the foundation looks. And so that's my thing, is if I have stuff that works, which it does, why make something else work? And I don't want to make it work just because of the name. You know what I mean? And I know that's blasphemous because Pat McGrath. But these days, I don't know Pat McGrath because I don't know what's going on over there. So we're going to take, I had the other brush. We're going to take this brush, this is a clean one, and we're going to take Desert Glow. Do I want to do this? Because I have a video I'm going to do after this. Yeah, so we're just going to take some Desert Glow, and we're going to put this here. This is so pretty. This is pretty. So I know now that Bronze Divinity is good for more or less contour-ish, whereas Desert Glow is good for an actual bronzer slash blush, because this to me could be a blush. I like this color. Yeah, so this is going to be it. So thank you for being here, me trying to perfect my pat face. And so it just will not be a pat concealer, it just will not be any pat powders, whether under eye or face powders. So that'll be it for this video. Thank you for being here with me. So I'm trying to get it right because I want my base to be right when I start doing eye looks, because whatever base face I do, that's the base face we're going to do for each of the pat eyeshadow looks. You know what I mean? And that'll be easier for me as far as filling out the description box and for flat lays, but then just to keep the face consistent. The only difference will be I do have 3 different pat blushes, and so but this right here will have the pat primer. My face feels fine, no irritation or itching or burning. The pat primer, the pat foundation, and that's it. And the pat bronzers and blushes. So we'll just have an outside concealer and an outside powder, and we'll be using an outside eye primer. I did try the Artistry wand. My lids didn't like it. My lids had an issue with it. And so I will be using the Fenty eyeshadow primer. I am going to be trying for the first time Pat's liquid liner and her pencil liner. And we will be using my Pat Motherships, and as I said earlier, the Pat Quads, the new ones that I purchased. And we may likely revisit her quints that I have. So that's going to be the month of McGrath, minus concealer, powder, and eye primer. And mascara, because my eyes didn't like the mascara either. I had an issue with that. So thank you for being here. Let me know. See, this I think is nice. When I get close though, the under eye is looking funky. This one more so, because this is my dark patch. Like this looks natural because I have under eye discoloration. This is like, okay, no. But other than that, like when I lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back, lean, girl, don't fall. Hold up, wait, hold on to the table. But leaning back though, this is friggin' bomb. But when you get close, it's like, girl, your under eye is green on one side. Could be worse, it could be both. There's only one. So I am excited that I am figuring out my pat face minus a few pat products. Thank you for being here. Let me know your thought process about this process, about what's going on with the brand. How much of her company does she own? The more frequent sales. If you use any of her Complexion products, let me know, are you able to do a face of pat, or are you having trouble with getting matches? Yeah, so those are the questions for this video. Thank you for being here. As always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.